Well, howdy there, everyone. Welcome to Man-O-Rama. Tonight's episode is on leaders and how men should be leaders. And it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk about what movies we thought were that made us feel like leaders. A good example, not a perfect example, but a good example. We're going to talk about what people in our lives that made us want to be leaders in different ways. There's all different shapes and sizes. Oh boy, I'm going in a different language, everyone. I don't have subtitles. Yeah. So join us for a fun, entertaining episode tonight, where it's just going to be a lot of fun, guys. Well, howdy there, everyone. Welcome to the 77th episode, not annual Oscars night. I'm your host, rancorsteve, as always. I am with a couple people on the panel. One other person might show up later tonight. Tom, Tom. You Canadians look the same.
Off to a great start. We all got the same.
Y'all look the same. You're all white.
Yeah, Bravo.
Yeah.
We all go
yeah.
Mike, how has your week been?
My week has been through its ups and downs, and it's been pretty good. It's been really, really good. A lot of weekend prayer. A lot of reveals and good to know who your buds are, who are, I don't want to say in your corner, but basically you really find out, who really cares about you, who your friends are, who basically will get up to bat for you and help a bro in need. So, and I'm really grateful to a lot of people out there. So it's been pretty good. It's been good.
Cool.
Yeah.
I almost said Mike. How's your week doing? Tom, how's your week?
busy. Coming up with new ideas.
Welcome to Man-O-Rama, where we get things confused.
Hey, it was actually here locally. Our province here in New Brunswick just got a tax credit for filmmaking. So we lost a while ago. So the film community here, like there's Greg Hemmings, he owns a documentary film, and he did his first full-length series. They're actually doing a TV series with zombies, but it's based after a different comic book. It's coming up. So I went to this. There's a whole group, like 500 some different people looking to get into the filming community. I'm like, I've already been in it with the film co-op here in New Brunswick, but they seem to be growing it. They're going to start creating more unions. They're going to create more. They're going to build something. So fingers up on that. And by the way, Mike, I wish I had more money, but I'm thinking about other stuff. We'll just talk later. I know you're gonna be doing an auction. Maybe I have some stuff here for you, so we'll wait and see. I'm gonna see and dig some stuff out. So cool. I'm poor myself, but you know what? I'm gonna try the best I can. So
Tom wants you to do a video for him.
I know.
Yeah.
I'll have to be back in the OnlyFans. God.
I know. I've got to put that dress back on. My week's been pretty interesting. I celebrated my birthday a couple weeks early with the in-laws, just because everyone decided to have their birthday close to June and in June. So it's like, let's just all cram it in one entire day. It was fun. I got a few Lego sets. So
nice. What'd you get?
You'll have to wait and find out.
Have you ever seen the bonsai tree Lego set? That's the weirdest thing.
Yeah, we had it. I built one.
Yeah.
I want to buy it. It looks cool. It's like
it is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I had the craziest amount of allergies. It sucked.
That season ties here.
For like yesterday just was miserable. I was like, bleh. So if I sound sick, I'm not sick. I just sound like Morgan Freeman. Yes.
The man sound like
I don't know how you pronounce this guy's name. Jakin Fox.
Oh, Jason.
Jason.
Studio.
Yeah, we know him. He's on Mike's show.
All right. Why do you
Guy,
put a
good
C? It's an S. Just be honest.
He's Norwegian.
It's J.
He's Norwegian.
Yeah.
That's why he's
That's right.
Oh,
right.
in that
Great
case,
guy. He's
I'll let
actually a
it
really good
slip
guy.
by.
Good musician, too. He has a metal band and everything. And I'm hoping to maybe work on a project with him down the road, too. So, yeah, Jason, he's an awesome guy.
He did do a
Yep.
shout out to the Trump mug. It's fantastic. I do.
There you go.
No coffee, just bourbon.
Mm.
That's pretty much what I do.
So what you only drink out of a Trump
It's
mug.
bourbon. Holy crap. That's. Oof.
Mm.
I got a bottle of bourbon for my birthday.
Oh, I couldn't do that straight. It's like Jack Daniels.
One
when I was,
extra
like,
hair to
26.
grow.
Remember drinking Jack Daniels at bars? I always got kicked out of the bar when I was drinking Jack Daniels. Ugh.
I
Really?
can't do. Okay, so here's the first question I have for you guys.
Okay.
Can you? I think I know Tom's answer. It's
Okay.
going to be a no. Do you like Jack Daniels?
Actually, no, I didn't mind it. And I drank it straight. That was years ago, but I didn't mind it. It actually wasn't the worst thing. That's why I used to get kicked out of bars.
I did try. My brother-in-law. They did a whole. So he graduated from college to be a mechanic, and
Right.
we did a little get together and celebration with his parents and family side of the family, and then we got dragged along because I'm brothers-in-laws with him. But his
Right.
dad has the coolest collection of bourbon, whiskey, tequila, vodka, everything. And he's like, "What would you like?" I was like, "Ooh, since this is free, I will do Maker's Mark." And he's like, "All right,
Yeah.
do you want it on the rocks, neat, or smoked?" And I was like, "I'll do it smoked. I've never done that. It's amazing.
Really?
I've had my bourbon for the first time smoked. Oh my gosh. It is
What does
fantastic."
it mean smoked, if you don't mind me asking?
So
Yeah.
they put it in a box.
Right.
And then there's like this little tray thing that you put the little shot in. I did a double shot of bourbon, and it just smokes it inside. So when it takes it out, it's got all the smoke coming out, and it has different flavors to it. And I think I had the apple smoke, and it's like little wood shavings that has like different flavors to it. And, it's so good. So good.
Really?
There is a poll that I have out tonight on Not Rancor Steve. It is called, because this is how to be a leader. I'm very excited about this episode. Greatest leader in the world, in world history. I like to make them very, very difficult. President, which honestly, they didn't know it screwed it up. It's supposed to be President George Washington, but George Washington, William Wallace has 0%. Donald J. Trump and Winston Churchill. Right now, George Washington and Donald Trump are tied in the lead at 40%. William Wallace has 0, and Winston Churchill has 20%.
Another guy I would put on there myself, Abraham Lincoln.
See, I can only do 4 people, and I was trying to think.
Yeah.
I was like, William Wallace actually tried to save. He helped free an entire country.
Yeah, true.
And that's a pretty badass leader right there. If you can say so.
Yeah.
You got George Washington, Churchill, Abraham Lincoln could have been in there. I had to put Trump in there for obvious reasons. Man.
He's done great things. I think he needs another run to really cement himself. So.
Oh man, another run, we'd be the greatest. We would be golden.
For 4 years at least.
Yeah.
And then
you never know. He might be like, "I'm gonna be king."
Yeah.
No,
that's right. I'm gonna be your new king. Everybody wants, all the people I talk to, they're like, "Trump, you gotta be king. You just gotta.
But on that note, we're gonna get into a little twist to one of our favorite segments right now. Tom doesn't know this, but Mike does, because I
know
he jumped in. These are the benefits of coming in backstage before the show starts early.
Mm-hmm.
Twitter.
And shout out to Fed for Hire for making that graphic. That's a really cool one. I like how it's X right now. Don't be that guy, but a little twist. Instead of simp tweets, we're gonna do. I found some news articles, They're going to be glorious. Let me tell you
Nice.
something. Let me pull this up. All right. Oh, poop. You can't even see that, can you? No, you can't. This is what it
Son of a
says because everyone's face is in front of it. It says, what is the role for men in feminism? Men of quality. It doesn't even say equality. It says quality are not afraid of equality. Okay. Well, this
What?
guy clearly is brainwashed.
Yeah, I need feminism like a hole in the head, and I
We
already
can make
have
that
many.
happen. Here at Man-O-Rama, we
can.
can make that happen.
Exactly. It's bad enough I already got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's already bad. Yeah. So I need it like I need an 8th hole in the head. So, perhaps maybe if I wanted another anus, then sure, I'll go for feminism, but one suffices for me, and that's where I draw the line. Yeah.
Well, here's another one.
Because-
Hopefully you guys can read this one.
Because like feminism, it's full of shit, and I can only produce so much.
Feminism is for men too.
What?
I like Tom's reaction out of all this right now. He's more like, Mike, you're more of like, I need this. And Tom's like, what? Why? Like, where did we come from? Where did we go wrong?
When I was in college, I had a close friend, White Feather. She's an amazing woman, but she's an old school feminist. And now she even would look at modern feminism, probably laugh her ass. Like, there's a difference. Like the 70s, 60s, and 70s feminism, they stood up for actual equality, and I understood that. Nowadays, it's man hating, it's saying the dumbest things. You got to be 6 foot, you got to be rich, and it's just stupidity, and it's just the lack of common sense in modern. It's not even feminism; it's just stupidity.
I think that's why most men call them feminazis.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Now, see,
and
here's
this
the other
proves
thing.
that.
I will say this: when it comes to feminism, I'm all for. Here's the moronic side of all this: is not to say that feminism is moronic. It's not.
Right.
The first wave, the beginning of it is like, hey, we want to get our voice out there, which I totally am all for. Like, you know what? We're all equal. It's in the Declaration of Independence. Like, boom, right there. But I get like, okay, cool. Here's a funny thing about women's rights. Once women found out, we'd have to do the draft, we have to do work, we have to do all these things, be taxed, do all these things. We don't want that. No. Guess what? Us white men, we voted for it. Guess what?
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. A lot of the first wave feminism who were for the women's rights, they realized, this is not going to go the way we thought it was going to go. And then men were like, hey, we can make money off of this with tax. And guess what? It worked. And women still don't get to go to the draft, which, okay.
Funny how that works.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know what it
is. Here's the thing. So I'm more for if a woman like my sister-in-law, she's like, hey, I want to have a career. I want to do all this stuff. Like, that's cool. Do that. Knock your socks off.
Yeah.
Like, if you really want to go and do that. But she understands, like, you know what, if I do this and if I pursue this as a main career, I'm not going to be able to get married. I'm not going to be able to have kids. Well, luckily she's able to balance those out. But a lot of women, majority of women don't understand that go to college, that go get their degrees in gender studies, which I don't even know what that
gender
even
studies
means.
is stupid, but
it's this whole new wave of feminism. Like, the only reason why men are feminists, it's women. I don't know if you know this, is because the guys are trying to get in your pants. That's the only reason why.
they're just trying to get laid, pretty much.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of women are realizing that, and it's here's another one. I saved the best one for last. Why men should be feminists too, written by a man.
Written by Justin Trudeau
And it's from the feminist shop.
and his socks.
If no one knows what this is, men of equality respect women's equality. They're all a bunch of guys. I guarantee you, a lot of those guys, like, what is it? The guy that has the sign that says trolls, he's definitely a guy who knows how to woo a lady. He just, most of those guys, I think all of those guys, yeah. It's men, don't be feminists. Just don't, please.
No.
We're here to save you. This is why I do this show every week.
Just a quick little point, if I can. Now, a lot of people are against women in the army, but I'm going to speak from experience. My cousin was in the army, and she was in the top 5 percentile here in Canada. That's men and women. She was a badass. She's still now. Sadly, she has PTSD, since it's hard to come back to civilization as a civvy when you're in that lifestyle. It's very hard, and she's having a hard time with it. But she's seen things that none of us should actually see, and she survived it. So, I mean, I give her credit. She was a top 5 percentile men and women. So some women can do it, but not a lot.
Oh,
she
yeah.
even says it's not a lot of women can. And when you come back, men and women are broken from some of the stuff you see in the movie.
Well, yes. But here's the benefit. Here is kind of, I didn't know this. The best snipers in the world are women.
Women, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just for some reason that's how it works out that way. And it's like, you know what? Cool. You win that one. There are some things women can do that men can't do, and there are some things men can do that women cannot do.
And having a great sniper in a position,
like the NBA
squad or something, that's a smart thing to have. So,
who knew that women would be able to take out men so effectively as a sniper?
Like, there are some things men can do that women can't do, like the NBA.
Yep.
True. Yeah.
I'm just saying. But
that's why there's the WNBA that nobody watches.
But here's my favorite. This is my ultimate favorite. I don't know if this is just a troll account or whatnot.
Right.
The profile picture is very weird looking, but I like this one because this is spot on. Woke men are incapable of satisfying women.
Amen.
I don't know now if this is a legit woman tweeting this out in 2022. By the way, awesome! You win Woman of the Month of May.
Yep.
That's all we have for
and during Christmas.
Don't be that. Don't be that guy. Don't be
like a little soy boy. Can I cuddle with you all night? I won't touch you. I won't. No.
Yeah.
Women, here is some word of advice. Women who are watching the show. A year from now, 5 years from now, I don't know. Whenever you're watching this show, whenever you find us 2, 3 stooges on this show, and there's a new wave of feminists out there, and you're watching this. A lot of the reason why, and I'm very much against this. I'm always for like, guys, find any way that you can pick up a chick. Nowadays, I veer away from that because it's so. We all know the whole transgender thing and all that hoopla. Like, it's very deceiving and it's very wrong for that to deceive men into all that stuff. But here's the other thing: women, be careful.
Yeah,
I'll say that right now. Be careful when it comes to dating. Like, when it comes to like, oh, I have my guy friends here. Like, I brought 10 guy friends who are here to protest. Just be a little bit smarter. Be cautious. If the guy is wearing a bro shirt, like very tight, he's not a feminist. That dude is packing. He's probably part of the college football team, and he's like, I just want to get a woman. That's all.
Yep.
Be careful. And guys, if you do that and you're watching, you're stupid, which means that you can't get a chick outside of faking it.
Exactly.
On that note, we're going to talk about leaderships.
Yeah.
I wanted to change it up a little bit. And tip of the hat, I'm changing it up a little bit also.
Cool.
Just because I don't know if Tom knows this, and I think, Mike, you don't know this. If not, tip of the hat, we're going to change it up. You're going to actually pick 1 or 2 people you personally know that has changed that has given an impact in your life. We're changing it up a little bit, just spicing it up. Let me find how to. Okay. Here's the question of the night: worst way to be a leader, Tom.
Ooh, worst way to be a leader.
If you say look like Michael Myers. No, I'm just kidding. Michael Moore. Dang it, I get him mixed up.
Michael Myers is awesome. I'd love just stalk everybody around and no, worst way to be leader. I mean, a good example, if you find bosses nowadays, there's bosses that lead and bosses that push and use. And I've dealt with bosses like that. And don't be that kind of leader where you're forcing people to do something and they can't do it. They're not capable of doing it. They're not comfortable doing something. And you're not working with them and you're not being direct. You're just demand and go, Now, in the army, that's something you can do. But as a good leader, you want to lead. You don't want to pull. If anybody's ever seen explanations of that, pulling their workers along with them, and just force them to do everything. Whereas a leader, you can help them, show them, teach them, and pull them on your shoulders to help them carry it ahead. But there's too many jobs that I've worked where people attempt to be leaders and they're not. It's pathetic. And they're just putting demands on people and not showing them what to do and not willing to do that themselves. But sadly, some of these grown leaders call themselves leaders in these job positions and they're not. That's my opinion on it. That's a bad way to do it.
Mike.
Yes. You know what makes a bad leader is ego. And most of the time, you're going to find a lot of people out there with a massive ego problem. And they think that being a leader means you get to, like what Tom said, you get to boss people around. Oh, yeah. Well, geez, now I'm the supervisor or I'm the boss on this job site or whatever. Everybody's going to do what I say. Well, you know what? If you're going to have a massive ego complex like that, you're going to find out that you're going to piss off a lot of people in a small amount of time, right? Because you're going to end up being insufferable. Nobody's going to want to really listen to you because you're going to end up with people that develop the mentality of like, you know what? Yeah, this guy don't know shit, right? He doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm going to do it my way, because if he thinks that he knows how he can tell me to do my job, well, he's got another thing coming. You're going to have people walking off of job sites. You're going to have people that are going to be like right directly behind you, flipping off the bird or something like that. You're going to have people that are going to be, say, maybe coming late to work. You're going to have people that are, oh, I can't make it today. It's like, when in reality, some of those people are going to be like, I don't want to freaking work for that freaking arsehole today. I'm going to just call in sick or something like that. You're going to experience delays in work time or projects that need to get done and shit like that, right? Like there used to be a time when true leaders would, like, for example, lead an army, right? They would be down in front, leading the pack. But in this day and age, you find a lot of leaders, doesn't matter if it's a general, doesn't matter if it's a boss on a work site or something like that. All they know how to do is manage from a little office somewhere else, right? And most of the time, because I've experienced this myself, where, they'll just not even interact with you whatsoever. And you're left with, the whole day. It's like, well, what am I supposed to do now? Right. And that's another way you're going to find delays on, say certain projects or certain work sites and stuff like that, because people that are crappy leaders will not take the time to invest in the people that work for them, right? You treat your employees like gold. They're going to be true to you through thick and thin. But, if you're the type of guy, a bad leader, that will go ahead and say, well, you know what? I want you to do this and this and this and this. No ifs, ands, or buts. And, if you don't like it, you can go take a flying fuck somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, people are not going to be working for you very quickly. Because I was one of those people. I am one of those people, to a certain degree, where, you know what? I'm not even going to bother with you. So screw you.
just quickly
So
adding
I'm
to
actually
his point.
sending out. No, you can
Sorry.
go, Tom.
Yeah, I actually had a job a few years back. I ended up leaving because it was like the leadership there was pathetic and bad and was similar to what he was saying. And I always say, don't lead by pushing and demanding and narcissism. Lead by example. Be the person in front, showing them this is what needs to be done, and then that's what a true leader does. And that's why I've always believed in. Don't add what he said. Yeah.
I should clarify. The reason why we're doing this episode is because I was watching what was it? I think it was Denver and Timberwolves NBA playoffs game.
Right.
And it was the last one that Timberwolves went. And I wanted Denver to win so they can play the Celtics in the finals. That was the other thing. I got to watch as I was opening my early birthday gifts. I got to see the scores of the Celtics sweeping Pacers. Sorry, Larry Bird, and going to the finals. So I get to watch the Celtics on my birthday, which is a very good gym. But that's beside the point. Neither here nor there. I had a really close friend who I actually trained, and I was his boss at a coffee shop. And he asked this question, what it is to be a leader. And I was like, and we had a very long discussion over beer. And I was like, man, that's a fantastic question because it can vary. Now, worst way to be a leader, I think you guys hit it on the nail on that one. It's a lot to do with arrogance. If you're just in it for me, like the moment you realize, oh, what a leader is, he's not there. He or she, a woman can be a leader, a man can be a leader. There's only two genders, but it's Tom's like, what? He said it, and we're canceled.
He speaks the truth.
Yeah,
but it's when you get a guy or a woman who's just like, I'm in it for me, like, and we've all made this mistake where we get to be supervisors or the manager or general manager, whatever the situation is, we get upgraded in our workplace. Like you could be at McDonald's and you could be a leader. And it's just, people can kind of tell like, oh, if you're in it for you, we're not going to really, we're paid. Like we have to do this because it's our job, but we don't really go for it. It's a lot to do. Like if you show arrogance, like people can see that a lot faster than you can. It's like when I've said this before. It's like when you go to the gym, you're not going to see the progression of your body when you go to the gym as fast. Once people notice it, then you'll start noticing it. And it's, I think you guys did a pretty good job, man. I don't have to go. You guys can graduate. Here's a fun one. All right. Yeah, who knew?
That's why we're recurring guests.
This is why this is a school. University of being a man.
Yeah.
I just want your money. That's all I want. Give me your money. Whatever.
Like I make crotch and spit. No.
Like I make anything off this. Every once in a while I make some money. But I will say this, and anyone who's watching on YouTube, if you go to Rumble, you can actually send me a super chat if you have any questions. That's what I'm making it. If there's any questions in the chat, we'll answer it because we do have a lot of conversations and we can't get to everyone in the chat. But if you do have a question you want us to answer, you can send it on Rumble in a rant and we can answer those. We love people's questions. I get a lot of DMs about questions. It's pretty cool. I'm like, dude. So,
and let me just add, people on X, if you want to go over to his YouTube channel or Rumble as well, and don't forget to give a subscribe over there. So,
if you're like, fine, I'll look this up. You promote this thing almost every day. Guess what, man? It's me, myself, and me.
Irene.
Here's one. I like this one because this is going to be fun.
Okay.
We're doing a little pop culture. All right, guys. We normally don't do this on Man-O-Rama. But here it goes. What movie or movies helped you know what a leader could be? Like we all know that Hollywood, they don't really portray what a good leader is, unless you're Mel Gibson. Then you're golden. You're golden, baby. What movies growing up or even now helped you understand, oh, that's what a leader could possibly be?
I don't know.
I got a good one.
All right, Tom.
Dead Poet
Mike.
Society. Dead
Ooh,
Poet
how
Society.
so?
Oh.
How so? Okay, because you know, and I love this movie. I haven't seen it in a while, but you know, as you know, it's got Robin Williams in it, right? And he's this teacher in a boarding school, right? I think it was teaching English or something like that. And you know, there's a couple of delinquents in the class and stuff like that. And but the thing is, he takes the time to teach these students, to interact with these students, to, you know, just essentially be a really good teacher. And I think, if I remember correctly, near the end of it, he was I think he was being dismissed or something like that by the headmaster of the school, or something like that. And he was being outed for something. I can't exactly remember what, because it's been a long time since I've seen this movie. But every student in his class that he touched, right, in a emotional way, right, not diddling or anything like that.
No homo.
And yeah, exactly, no homo. But basically stood up in class. And what was it they said? Oh, Captain, my Captain, or something like that, right? And that, you know, it almost made me want to become an English teacher, or just a teacher in general, because if I can influence in a positive way a bunch of students that really didn't care about learning whatsoever, and make them passionate about it, then you know what? That's a good leader right there. That, you know, if they're willing to stand up to the very end for you, then you've done something phenomenal for the next generation. And I think, to me at least, it's a really good leadership type of movie. First and foremost, I think, you know. So that's one movie for me, you know, that does it.
Yeah. Tom.
Yeah.
A hard one to really put. There's so many classics. I mean, Full Metal Jacket, we have the whatchamacallit there. He's leading all the troops and stuff. I love his character, and he's a guy you would fall in line. You fall in line because he's a leader that, you know, that's the way a leader should be. He's stern.
What's his name?
But I can't think of his name. He's actually was a real soldier and a corporate whatever too. So there's a real thing, and he made me stand attention, like, yes sir. Watching the film, I'm like, wow, this is a man I could follow. You could follow him to the depths of wherever to serve. So, but actually, I'm going to go on him to add another thing with Robin that he did also that to me motivated me, and I'm like, wow, is what was one with Matt Damon? Good Will Hunting.
Good Will Hunting.
Here's this guy who took his time to teach this guy, and I've worked with people with different mental issues. I have them myself, ADHD, and he took the time, and you watch him help him over time, and he kind of led him to a better path to better himself. Even if it's not a group of people, it can be one person. You know, he still took that time, and it wasn't easy on him either, because the guy had extreme mental health issues, and he took the time to teach him, guide him, and find him a way to, no, you're good to do this. Let's show that you can do this. And I find that was a good leader. It doesn't have to be, it can be one-on-one for great leadership too. You know, like your father, your mother, any person in your life, even a one-on-one, it can be just as big a leader as a person leading a whole group of people. So, I mean, to me, that's one that sticks in my head, because it's just the way, you know, I've seen people with mental health and the way he guided him throughout the film. And you see, he was a good leader to him to make him a better person to who he became. To believe in himself.
Nice.
Yeah, you're right about Robin Williams. Damn. So
now we're stumping. Yeah.
He's just a good dad. So it's just,
So I grew up on the 80s. The high testosterone, the Arnold Schwarzeneggers, the Stallones, and Bruce Willis, Mel Gibson. I grew up on that stuff. Yeah. And you guys did. I didn't think you guys were going to pick those two, but I never thought of it that way. You're right on that. To me, Braveheart, I know it's historically inaccurate. Whatever, I don't care. It's my second great. I think it's one of the greatest movies ever made.
It is a classic, yeah.
Also done by one of the greatest composers, but we won't get into that one. But to me, what Mel Gibson does with his movies, it's I just don't know. I think the guy has been gifted. It's a gift and a curse. If you guys have seen Monk, you'll get that phrase. I love that show, by the way. He is gifted and cursed, I think, at the same time, where he can tell a good story. Like Hacksaw Ridge, he can explain what a leader is.
Yeah.
Like, I was going into that movie thinking this is going to be dumb. This is going to be the first movie he's directed where it's going to be terrible. I loved it. I was like, oh my gosh. Like, give the guy every award for the next 20,000 years. Like, hands down. Another one is Hook, a Robin Williams movie.
But interesting.
Rufio is the leader.
Interesting.
But he also has to learn. Here's the other thing about leaders is you also have to be okay and be like when I play pickleball, I've learned it's very humbling. Like I played against a couple who were one of my friends and we played against this couple who were in their 80s. Turns out they're all Red Sox fans. This couple is. So I'm like, you're in it with me. Cool. You're Boston sports fans. When you're 80 years old, there's only the Yankees, Brooklyn Dodgers, with the Boston Red Sox. Those are the only three baseball teams you're a fan of. One of those three. You got 3 shots. And they hustled us. The first game we won, and then the second game they smoked the living lights. It wasn't even funny, but I learned how to be humble about it. And being a leader, you gotta have to be humble, and you get that with Rufio. And it's also sometimes with Robin Williams and Hook. He didn't want to be a leader. He didn't want to accept it that he was Peter Pan. And then in the end, he's like, "Okay, I am." There's the difference between like you're either born a leader or you're being taught to be a leader. That's a good question there. Ooh, that's a good one. This is a deep theological one. Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
But another one,
John.
Okay. What?
Well, John Capola on the YouTube said the movie Stand and Deliver, the best calculus teacher I ever did see. I haven't seen that one, so I'm gonna have to check that one out.
It's a good one.
I've heard of. I've never. I don't think I've watched it. Yeah.
And then he also says Herb Brooks' Miracle 1809 hockey team.
Oh yeah.
Who
was that? Who was Dennis Quaid? No, not Dennis Quaid. Snake. Escaping New York. Escape from New York.
Oh, he's married to Goldie Hawn.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he's not. Are they married? Or are they?
No, they're not married, but they're common. But yeah,
they have the best relationship.
Oh, Kurt Russell.
It's Kurt Russell.
Yes,
there it is.
Awesome actor. Yeah.
Also, here's the other thing: any movie that you want to watch that you want to learn how to be a leader, watch a Denzel Washington movie.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
He is the greatest white black actor ever.
Yeah. I'm gonna throw in.
I was told that before. I was told that by I forget who. I want to say Gary, but I think it was him. I don't know. But yeah, it was Gary. He said, "Yeah, Denzel Washington is the greatest white black actor," and I was like, "You're right. He is," which isn't a bad thing. It's not a racial thing. It's true.
No.
Every role he plays could be a white guy, and he plays it so well that it's just. I just love Denzel. That's one guy I would love to sit down, have lunch with, read some scriptures.
I'm gonna throw another movie out there. Patton.
Ooh.
Yeah.
The Nicolas Cage one or the older one?
No, the older one. I've never seen the Nicolas Cage one.
Neither have I, but he plays Patton.
Nicolas Cage one. So, okay. Well, I'm talking about the George C. Scott one. So,
yes,
because there's a man. Yeah, okay, sure. He might have thought he was like the reincarnation of Alexander the Great, but hey, what cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs kind of guy doesn't think that they are, or Napoleon? But here's a guy, here's a leader that come hell or high water, he was gonna bash the living crap out of those friggin' Nazi bastards in World War II. And he found any way possible to do it. And even though he would go through rain and snow and through mud and forest and everything like that, he was not gonna stop. And he inspired those men to keep on going no matter what. There's a leader up front, like I said before, up front before the troops, leading men, that inspired men to keep on fighting, to fight tyranny no matter what, and to defeat it once and for all.
Yeah.
But then again, after the war, he wanted to take on the Russians. It's like, no. Let's take a break, man. We need a break.
So let me get back to Braveheart, because I realized I went on a little tangent for a second there.
Right.
What Mel Gibson does with Braveheart, he loosely tells the story of William Wallace. Is how he portrays William Wallace is William Wallace had to be pushed to the limit where his wife gets killed. And he's like, all right, I guess Britons don't know anything about world history. I should say that about George Washington, because they should have learned, hey, we shouldn't pick on other countries. Watch, now I'm going to get a bunch of hate just for that comment right there. I'm going to get a bunch of hate. Yes, I know. America, industrial military America.
Complex.
We're corporate America. We're not. That's a conspiracy. We should do an episode on that one soon.
We're not France.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although the French helped the Revolutionary War with America. But
yeah, true.
I love how Mel Gibson portrays William Wallace, or tells the story of William Wallace, of how to be a leader, of how he was a born leader, but he didn't know it. He had to be pushed. That's the other thing. There are some leaders that are pushed to that breaking point.
Yeah.
Where it's like, they didn't know it, and it just, because he wanted to raise a family, have a farm, whatever any civilized person wanted to do. And then there's a point where it broke him. He's like, all right, this needs to stop. And then he led an entire country. Even when he passed away, he still led the country to freedom. And I think that's the most badass leader you can possibly think of. Like, dude, his sword is 6, I forget what it is. It's like 6 foot, or like almost 6 feet long, or something like that. William Wallace is a big dude.
Going on with, it just made me think, if you don't mind me adding this part just quickly, it's to do with Mel Gibson talked about it, but the gentleman who was portrayed in the movie Bruce recently, The Sound of Freedom, to me, that was a leader, because what he decided to do, go against what he was told to do.
Yeah.
That's a leader, because the kids were number one.
Tim Ballard.
Yeah. I mean,
Tim Ballard, if you guys, I know we've done him in a tip of the hat. I watched, I knew about Sound of Freedom, and Andy also has donated some to his organization that he's not there anymore because of made up allegations about Tim Ballard and whatnot. And I wanted to take my wife to see this, and there was a chance where we were going to go see Sound of Freedom, but it was like we were going to be separated. And I told my wife, said, yeah, let's go watch it. I was like, I'm not watching this unless I'm sitting next to you.
Right.
And she was like, why? I was like, just trust me when I say this. And she knew. She's like, okay, cool. That was a little leadership that I put in there. I was like, nope, we're doing it this way. I don't care.
Yeah.
And we never saw it in theaters. Like, theaters tried to make it impossible for people to watch, and it ended up being a success.
Oh, yeah.
Massive success. If you haven't seen Sound of Freedom, go buy it. Don't rent it. Just buy it. You can rent it, but just buy it.
It's deep.
Because Jim Caviezel, that's baby Jesus, man. Jim Caviezel is are the closest you're going to get to Jesus. And we were watching it. Not even 5 minutes into the movie, my wife is bawling. She's like, she turned to me, she paused it, she grabbed the remote, and she's like, I don't know if I can take this any longer. I was like, just keep watching it, trust me. And she's like, are you sure? I was like, just keep watching this movie. That whole movie is spot on who Tim Ballard is. Jim Caviezel does a really good job. And I'm glad that you brought that up. I'm a very passionate person when it comes to sex trafficking and stopping that stuff. And I wanted to do like a GoFundMe with Tim Ballard's old organization, but I'm going to see if he's doing something similar so we can actually raise some money to do that. I want to stop sex trafficking. Like, I'll quit my day job. I will quit everything just to do that. Like,
my brother said, if we ever make millions as filmmakers and he does his thing, we're gonna have a little thing to start doing something like that. Because
I will support. Hire me. I'll be your PA. I'll buy you. I'll get you guys coffee. But
you got a crew.
Yeah, it's man, dang. Yeah, that's Tim Ballard. That's a leader.
See, it's not just somebody who leads an army. It's somebody who just leads for the betterment of even one person or a few people. It's not just the army, it's saving kids too. A leader for kids, and a leader, a good leader is somebody that's just willing to do what's right.
Yeah,
exactly.
And you can find pretty much almost every movie. Hollywood does a decent job. Maybe not nowadays. Or at least they some try.
They like to think they are.
Yeah. But if you really want to get an idea of like, hey, what's a taste of leadership? Watch 90s movies. If you're into movies, you're not going to get a full effect of what a leader is, but you're going to get an idea with the people who make them, like Stallone, Mel Gibson. Anyone else who I'm missing? I'll throw Bruce Willis in there sometimes with Die Hard. You're going to get the whole Hollywood likes to make it all entertainment. Like you see firearms, the shootouts and all that stuff. That's all like how Kurt Russell says, that's all make believe. It's all entertainment. It's what you see in Hollywood is not reality. Reality is a lot different. A leader they're probably the most miserable people on the face of the planet. They're not, they have so much stress on them. They have so much everything going. Like, not to toot my horn, I run a show. I lead a show. Doesn't mean I'm the best leader. I have my faults, but there's stress. And everyone, like Mike, you run a show also. I guarantee you have stress. You're losing some hair. Join the club. Tom,
that's been like that for ages.
Tom has more gray hairs than all of us combined, so he's matched it. He's evened it out. But
not on the top, I'm good, but
there's a point where you have to understand that if you want to be a leader, which I think every guy should pursue that, because you're going to accomplish a lot out of it. You're gonna actually accomplish quite a bit. Actually, it's once you've solved one problem, you're like, oh my gosh. Even though it was hard at the time, it's like, this is easy now. What's the next step? It's like with me, it's like God challenges me, and he pushes me, not to the point where I don't know how to handle it, but he pushes me to know, hey, look, I'm gonna make you a better man. We're supposed to be leaders in our marriage, even in dating, whatever the situation is. And that's the other daunting thing is when I was thinking about this, because I was reading in the Bible. See, we're getting into the Bible. Oh boy. Yes, King David. He was a leader, but he was like not the best example on a lot of things, but he was a good example on important things of how to. He wrote one of my favorite books, Psalms, and if I'm always feeling depressed or stressed, it's either I watch Rocky, Rambo, or read Psalms, or do all three at the same time.
Right.
Like, that's the other thing. Like, here's the other thing. That's the other one. If you want to be a good leader, watch Rocky. because that's the best example in Hollywood of what a guy who is, because we all can relate to Rocky in some way, shape, or form. We're down on our luck. We're miserable. Nothing's going our way. And then Rocky, it's just, there's something about that. And Stallone hit it. And I love what Stallone did with that. And I don't know. And I sent this one to Stallone a while back. And I don't know if he ever saw it. And I was like, look, I've been dealing with depression for a while. And I've been recently watching all the Rocky movies, and you got me out of depression for just watching Rocky. There's something about Rocky. That's my go-to. Yeah. It's either Braveheart or any Denzel Washington movie or Rocky franchise.
I'll second on the Rocky thing. I have the whole box set, and I even extended to the Creed. When they had him helping Creed, I was like, okay, there's a leader. I hated when they didn't have him the last one. I was like, no, that was dumb. But he was a good leader for Creed to develop somebody new. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. But no, he's
No, so, I mean, yeah. If you want a leader, look, you want somebody, and I know this is kind of like a tall order, but you want somebody that's, like a good doctor, or like a great mechanic, or a scientist and a warrior. You want somebody with like the personality of Abraham Lincoln, who's immensely kind and compassionate to everyone, basically. That's also like a great quality of a leader. Somebody that no matter who you are or where you've come from in life, that the same respect goes to you no matter who you are, right? Yeah. And that if you can take the time to even heal or fix or solve a problem or just fight back for what is good, that also is a great leader on top of that, right? Because there will be people that will come to you, and sometimes you will end up wondering, why these people coming to me? Why do people come and, I don't know, share their feelings or their thoughts, or if they got a problem? It's because they see something in you that you might not even see yourself as a great role model, which ends up becoming a good leader, or even a great leader, right? There's something about that magnetic personality that people want to be around, that people, to a certain degree later on, that people will rally around, right? You might not ask for it, you might not want it, but you gotta sometimes take a look at yourself and maybe just accept it, that if there's a reason why people come to you with certain things, maybe it's because you have certain leadership qualities that people just admire about you. I mean, I'm not saying it's us, it could be somebody that you look up to, but sometimes you might have to look at yourself and realize, maybe I do have what it takes to be a good leader.
I want to throw a name out there to you guys. I don't know if it's just outside of movies or inside of movies, because I had a name that might shock you guys that I'm going to say.
Keanu Reeves.
No, outside of movies. I'm going to step outside, unless that's a question for later. Is that a question for later?
Trump.
Okay. Actually, no. And you guys are religious gentlemen, and I used to be. I was raised Catholic and all that. But you want a great leader? I'm going to say, at least, even from, I might not be a believer per se, but Jesus.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's a leader who died for his own people. I mean, as human or God, whatever you want to put it as, it's still a person that considered a leader, because he led an entire amount of people. I mean, and I don't even get the hate, even though I'm not I have my and this and that. The hate on that religion right now is so stupid and disgusting in our planet. I don't get it. There seems to be
What's interesting about Man-O-Rama is
Sorry to go off about that, but yeah.
no, it's fine. It's
No,
I
it was
tried to
fine.
veer. I told some people this, and my wife. By the way, Mike, you deserve this right here, a badge of honor.
I'm Donald
Do
Trump,
I?
and I approve this message.
Yeah, I have sound bites ready. The thing
Okay.
that about this show is, and a lot of people are like, I want to plug this show into the church and all this stuff. Like, there's a bunch of churches that really want to get involved with this show, but they don't because of how we talk.
Mm.
And there's one couple in my couples group, and the wife's like, "Oh, what's your show?" And they want to know, and I said, "Well, let me clarify this real quick. We're very colorful on a lot of words. It's because I have guys from different backgrounds, whether you're Christian, agnostic, atheist, whatever it is, whatever political side you are. We don't like this show. We don't care. When it comes to like this show, it's like." It's once we're here, we don't care what everyone's opinion is, as long as we're respectful and as long as we understand, like, hey, I get called out on some things I've said and I stand corrected. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'm very wrong on that one. And as long as you're okay with that, that's what matters. And she didn't like that. She's like, oh, and I was like, it's yeah. And so that's why the show never really reaches out to the churches, just because that. And so I try to leave religion out because I don't, just out of respect for everyone else. But
That's why I didn't mean any disrespect in bringing that name up too.
But
it's just like
much,
I'm more studying in the pagan stuff and everything like that. But I was raised. That's how I was raised, and I still admire the man. However you see it, I mean, story or whatever. For me, it's still what a leader should be.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And even if some people say, "Oh yeah, it's a bedtime story for me," hey, you know what? If that's what you think it is, cool. It's if you think he's like Jesus is real, awesome. For me, I don't judge based on that. It's like, hey, as long as we're on the same boat. But yeah, you are right. It's Jesus is pretty much like the king of all leaders. It's like, hey, it's the dude did the deed on that one, and he rocked it. And it's I tried not to push. Once in a while, I might push, like, yeah, this is what I do in my church.
That's
but
why
I never
the non-religious guy threw that out there. I figured.
I know, right? It's always, here's the thing. It's always, there's one other guy who is a Christian on the show, and I'm trying to get him back on. He's been busy with his kids and family. But then it's always like the non-religious people that bring up Jesus, the Bible, and Christ and all that stuff. And I'm like, interesting. Like,
I never down on
because I never tried to. Just it's a very interesting perspective. I never thought about that way. But to answer your question, Tom, it's R. Lee Emery. I can't pronounce his name. In Full Metal Jacket.
Yes, yeah. I mean, he's the real thing.
His last name I never get right. But here to veer off from pop culture movies and stuff, because we can go like a whole year on leadership in movies. We could.
Inspirational movies.
It'd be exhausting.
Yeah.
Here's the question I have for you guys. How should we help train guys in being leaders?
Ooh, that's a good one.
I'll open it up to one of you guys.
Okay. I'm going to say
Keanu Reeves. I don't know why I'm thinking John Wick right now. John Wick is in my head right now.
I'm going to say, you know what? One important thing about leadership is it's never about you, right? It's about others. It's always about others. It's having a servant mentality, right? How can I best serve you? Because if you're selfless, as a person that's in a leadership position, or about to be in a leadership position. Being selfless will help you, because I want to word this very carefully. You're gonna find that of giving of yourself, people are going to help you. And in helping you, you become a better leader because you have, how should I put it? In a roundabout sort of way, faithful followers, faithful workers, people that will literally go out of their way to help you accomplish a goal. Doesn't matter what the goal is. Doesn't matter what the goal is. If you can treat people, those that are under you, with, like I said before, like with respect, and it's and it's definitely not about, you got to be all inclusive and you got to include everybody, because if you don't, you're a hateful, racist, xenophobic bigot of some sort. Not about that. If you just treat people like they want to be treated, like a human being, then those people will consistently either come back to you because you've given them that shred of humanity that they're looking for. They will go out of their way to help you. They will go out of their way to promote you, to just say nice things about you, and they end up helping you. And if there's some sort of monumental task that that you need to get done, then those people will come along and they'll help you. It's like, yeah, look, bro, because of the way you treated me, yeah, you need this done, then fine. I'll help you. I will follow you in order to accomplish this goal. Leadership is about selfless acts and people following you because you treated them essentially like a human being. That's basically it. Sometimes, yes, it's scary. It's like being on a channel with like this, with a panel of people, and you got to speak in front of people, in the hopes that you're conveying a message properly. And that's not always an easy thing. And it's the same thing with being a leader. Yeah, you're going to have people that are either going to grumble and complain, oh, I don't like the way this guy's doing stuff. If you can take the time, right? Be meek. Take the time. Being meek means to be teachable, right? And that's another important thing about being a leader. Being able to, admit when you were wrong about something. Yeah, okay, guys, you know what? I was wrong about something. Here's how I want to fix it for you, right? Being a leader also means being a servant. It's as simple as that, right? So, it's funny because a lot of great leaders came from very humble beginnings, because that's another thing, because maybe they came from nothing, and they remember what it's like to have maybe nothing or next to nothing, and they appreciate the point where they are in life, to remember where they came from, not just some guy that was like maybe born into money or something like that, and they got the keys to, daddy's company or something like that. Well, I'm a great leader because, my dad gave this to me, or my mom gave this to me. It's like, no, you didn't earn squat. You didn't do anything for it. You didn't work for it. Not like some people that were, at one point maybe down in the dumps or something like that, and they worked their ass off to where they were, right? They can appreciate coming from nothing. And if they see somebody that also comes from nothing and they want to help them out or prop them up or something like that, then that's also the great earmarks of being a great leader, remembering where you came from. I'm babbling on. Tom, what do you got?
Very similar to what you're saying too. I'm going to use the sort of start with lead by example, and like I said, being a leader, you're not going to know everything also. And if somebody you're leading can correct you and you're like, okay, that is right, be okay and be humble and say, okay, no, I can learn from that to become a better leader. So you're correct. Thank you for that. And it's not, again, it's just with the narcissism. I've seen narcissistic not leaders, but they consider themselves leaders, and I never understand it. And it's to be humble, to be okay with you're going to learn on as you're leading, and it's usually I agree with you 100% because I've noticed that thing. It's the people that were born with a silver spoon in their mouth. A lot of times are the worst leaders. I'm not saying always, but for the majority I've seen, it's the ones that have come from the farms or have struggled with hardships and stuff because they know what it's like. So they know not to force this or just you sit behind a wall and, lead from my desk. No, they're out there in the front line because they worked hard to get where they were, and where they are now or wherever. And leading a group of people, they like, okay, I came up this way and this, let's try this, because they're leading by example. Again, that's a leading by example thing is you've learned as you grew up. You didn't just get handed everything quickly to you. So you learned to work hard and struggle and teach others that the struggle is worth it. And sometimes life is hard, but realize that it's hard. It's going to come out brighter in the end. Just keep on pushing. And that's the kind of person that can sit behind you, and he'd stand in front of you if you need, but he can also step behind you and push you ahead and say, here, you just got to go farther, push you more. And that's the kind of person that I've always witnessed myself, a leader that is okay to do the job themselves. But when they feel it's your turn to go, they'll give you a push. And they'll say, okay, you can do this. And they believe you. And then they're like, and they will give you tips on how to push that because they struggled themselves at one point. And again, there's a difference between, and I'm not saying all rich people haven't been great leaders. There have been some that are good and it did work hard to where they were as well, because some rich parents actually make their kids work. But the general consensus is people that have struggled in the past know what it's like to struggle, and they're going to help you and their team or whomever they're working with. And they'll be a person that can lead by example, because that's the most important thing, is not using narcissism. And again, I've dealt with that personally, narcissistic managers, leaders, whatever the term we want to use here. And it was just pathetic. And they pushed and that. And I was like, this is the worst leadership. That's why I left certain jobs. I'm like, I can't deal with that. That's unprofessional and I'm just not. But it's this person that knows what it was where you are at one point. They were where you were at one point, and they knew what it come up to work hard. Now they're leading other groups, and they're willing to prop people up and help them and take the time to sit and listen to you and push you to where they are someday. That's the kind of leader I would want working with me. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
John Capola in the chat on YouTube said, a client asked me to take the spot. Now I see to the team needs about 9 agents during peak season. See, there you go. I mean, if a client sees something in you, then they're going to say, you know what? Okay. Sometimes they'll go, hey, let's give this guy a chance. Let's see what he can do with the team. Right. And if you got the right stuff, if you're able to, inspire others, well, there's another earmark quality of being a leader. John Rendell also says they need to learn how to carry themselves like leaders. Yeah, that's very important. Being able to, your stance, how you carry yourself through a conversation. What makes you also the best qualified. If anything, sometimes, there can be some snake oil salesmen out there and whatnot, but, usually people will always detect those no matter what.
And the part that I would say, if the
is it on a rope?
If the leader that promoted him, if he was a good leader, then you're like, oh, wow, that's awesome. Because sometimes you'll be pushed by a leader that just wants you to do the job for them. I've seen that too.
Yeah.
But if it's a good leader and you somebody you looked up to and they're saying, no, you can do it next, then they have faith in you, and that means you have something too. So go with that and learn from what you watch them, and maybe if he's that kind of leader, you can go to him for more advice down the road too. So,
yep.
So I had dog duty that I had to do. If Gary, I know he pop culture minefield, he's in the background. I don't know if he's trying to figure out some things with Rumble Studios. Love to have your input on this. This is fun. Keep trying. Don't worry. I like this. I like that the show grows. I've learned this with the smaller amount of people, like 6 people is a good amount of number for having people on. And then when you get like 3, maybe 4 guys on the show, it's more intimate in a way where it's like we can actually have a solid conversation. Not that the past episodes are not important, they are, but it's a lot more condensed where it's like we can hear each other's thoughts and stuff. But I love everyone on this show. Gary, how you doing? If you go, you have mic problems.
I'm very
Okay.
fucking.
Hey, I hear you.
Yeah, we hear you.
I specifically use NVIDIA, and it
Oh.
recognizes it, but it
Oh.
won't fucking. Once I go into the studio, it doesn't work. So
Oh.
I got to worry about any sound now on my desktop because I have filters designed to prevent that sound.
Well, I have a
Local studio
question.
sucks. That's all I got.
I have a
going through
question
NVIDIA
for
can be a pain.
you.
I doubt that. Yeah.
We did a question before this one. We'll get to the next one, but I want to go back to this one because I think you have a really interesting. There's a lot I've learned about you, Gary. That's really awesome. Through Mike that he told me on the phone. So the question I had was, what movie helped you know what a leader could be?
Leadership is something that comes natural to some people.
Mm.
I never knew that I had leadership qualities until I was in the Army. And all of a sudden, I was constantly being put in charge of people. And I'm like, why are you putting people under my charge? I'm a fucking idiot. I don't know what I'm doing. And there are certain things. Also, my inability to put up with people's bullshit is another requirement for good leadership. You've got to be able to put your, I like the word you really wanted, Michael, was pliable. You need to be somewhat pliable to be able to learn. But you need to know when you need to be pliable and when not to be. And one of the first signs of a good leader is somebody who knows when to stop putting up with people's bullshit. And the military absolutely beat that into me in spades. And I enjoyed that because I think that's where the true dick in Gary really came out. And I can be so dickish to people. And I'm like, so is that the question you really? Okay, hold on. Someone said there's no such thing as a stupid question. And I'm put to you, you just asked one.
Well, it's how, okay, you did answer the next question. That was a pretty good one. But what movie helped you know what a leader could be? We did a little pop culture. We spent probably about 20 minutes on it. Like, was there a movie that like it hit you like, oh, we did talk about that.
Patton had an impact on me as a young man. And I wanted to grow up to be somebody like, General George S. Patton. I loved that man. I admired him. Now, if you want to get away from movies and get into the reading, when I was 13, I read The Flower of Chivalry, the story of William Marshall, the greatest knight who ever lived. And immediately after that, when I was 14, I read the Book of Five Rings, the book written by one of the greatest samurais who ever lived, Miyamoto Musashi, or some people call him Musashi Miyamoto. And those two books had an impact on me on probably the most pliable years, Michael. The most pliable years.
Pliable.
So pliable.
Supple, even.
Moist.
I think
milky skin, milky supple.
I think for me, to answer how should we help train guys in being leaders, the thing that I'm learning, and I'm going to get a little harsh on this because this has been something I've talked to Mike about this, and I guarantee Tom, Gary, you're all going to agree on this. I try to watch my language on this show. Just because it's like there's people like my mom watches the show sometimes and she's like, I want you to have clean language. Okay, I can work on that. And we've done pretty good. But guys need to get a fucking thicker skin. That's gonna help you. I'm not kidding. The moment you have thicker skin, and you can like if you guys know who Gary Ambrosia and Andy Masterson is, Tom, Mike, Gary, I hope you know who Andy
Two
is.
very,
'cause
I'm
he's on the
very
show.
fond of both those guys.
He's awesome.
Yeah. Those two guys bust my balls every goddamn day. And let me tell you, I told Gary, let's take a break from busting my balls. Not because my feelings were hurt. It wasn't that. It just got really just tedious. And I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
And then he's like, all right, we'll take a break. Whoa, your feelings are hurt. And then he ends up busting my balls the next day. I was like, see, there you go. I just need 5 hours of just no ball busting.
I needed to let my balls heal.
Yeah, you've been hitting them a little too hard, man.
That's what friends do.
They are. It's those two guys. They have taught me life lessons. Andy's kind of an uncle to me, and Gary is a brother to me. But that's the other thing. It's guys need to learn a thicker skin, because the moment you have thicker skin, you can handle a lot more. It's whether it's mainly life stuff, and it's I think just teaching guys and the guys that I'm talking about are kind of like the computer nerds who don't go out and build things. Like, yeah, you build computers. That's cool. Awesome. Good for you.
Yeah.
But build a house. You're going to learn a lot of things. And it's going to push you to that point where is this worth it? And let me tell you, it sucks at first, but it's way worth it.
I grew up in a construction family. So building houses.
So you know
additions. Yeah. I was hanging drywall when I was like 15.
I fucking hate drywall. I really do.
Hey man, when my brother owned a landscaping business, and during the cold months, we needed work, and so I'd follow him, and we'd start, and that's what we did. Is we'd slung mud and hung drywall, and when you can't landscape, that's good work.
I started yelling at the screws. I started yelling at the screws today because they wouldn't go into the metal framing. I literally was yelling at the screws. I was that pissed.
Really?
This sucks.
That's awesome.
I learned patience and everything. That's the other thing. It's any guy watching the show, go do constructions. I'm building my wife this. She watches a bunch of like Instagram videos, and she gets all these crazy ideas. Crazy ideas that I have to do. Let's clarify it. I'm willing to do them. No problem.
Worse,
she wants to do this
terrible ideas that you have to go back and fix.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, she wants this pallet garden thing, which is kind of cool. I've kind of put it off for a few years, and I'm starting to actually like, all right, cool. We can actually do this, trying different ideas. Mostly because I'm like, well, how the heck do you want this done? Here's the other thing, guys. If you guys are dating, or if you're dating, living with your girlfriend, or you have a chick that you're married to that's living with you, if you want her to have you fix things, here's the easiest thing I've learned. There's a water knob. You just turn it to turn off the water in the bathroom, especially the toilet. When you turn that off, you only get one flush. If she has to go to the bathroom, the water's not working. Can you fix this? You just turn it on.
Oh.
Or if you get cabinet doors, I'm doing ASMR fix it moment. Unscrew, just take the screws and unscrew them just enough to where they get a little lopsided. All you got to do is screw them in. Let me tell you guys right now, if you do those two things, you get laid. It's inevitable. It's that moment that she's gonna think, oh my gosh, he can fix everything. Now here's the other thing that you need. Here's the fine print. Just because you can do those things, easy easy fixing tricks to the trades doesn't mean
Yeah.
you can put a fucking door into the house unless you know how to do it. Meaning, I hate putting doors in. My wife's like, how? She's looking at house things. She's like, oh, we can put this in here. We can put this in here. I was like, oh man, I need 3 guys to help me on this one. Meaning, I hate drywall. I've been doing it all day. I can't stand it. My allergies hate me. Get the right screws. But
You knock
to
that
help
light over,
guys
I'm
to
gonna kill
learn,
you.
that's a little side note. That's a little marriage, little fun note. Mike's like, I have to do those things.
I've done those things.
I've
Have
Except
you ever given
drywall.
bad advice just to fuck with people?
I've done the bad advice things
In a
just to-
hospital. In a hospital. I
Oh,
did
God.
this. When I was working as a paramedic, I walked in and a guy was having problems with radiological equipment. And I said, have
Right.
you tried to power it off and power it back on?
I gave one guy.
Oh, God.
I
You
never
didn't.
I never
I didn't
give
tell
guys,
you what I said it to.
Who?
The guy couldn't get the barium enema to work in this old guy. It kept popping out. I said, did you try powering it off and powering it back on again? And the look I got from my friend Carrie Monday, who's still a friend of mine on Twitter. You can find him on Twitter, Carrie Monday.
Oh,
He just turned. He's a very he's not a catty gay guy. He's a bear. He's a very manly gay guy. And he turned and looked at me. He goes, I can't kill you, you know. And I went, not really, but okay.
Oh, jeez.
So I told my brother-in-law who does construction, he's a mechanic, and
Oh, God.
I told him about the tricks and trades. He's like, I already know that stuff. And I was like, oh, so you've been married? And he's like, yeah. And
Yeah.
I never give bad advice to
Oh,
guys
Lord.
unless
Right.
I know who they're with.
Mm.
If it's a Valley Girl, Starbucks, oh my gosh, I'm going to give this guy, hey, if you really, like, if he's dating someone, here's a dating tip right here. If you want the chick to leave you alone, come talk to me. I will make sure you will never see that chick ever again. Because I'll give him
Things
the
to say to
worst.
women when you don't like them.
Yeah.
$25. I could get that with a midget for 50. I've said it. I
That'll
said it
do
out
it.
loud, and the woman got real red in the face and ran away from me. $25.
What? So
Get that with a midget for 50.
Just to add your point on the fellow geeks that are sitting, I'm one of those, but I'm a person that's
I'm looking at you.
Yeah, I was one of those. I
Yeah.
repair computer stuff, but I also worked at the Coast Guard. We'd have to drill through cast
shit.
iron buoys and put on, with titanium bits, which they break easy. I've put up drywall with myself with a dad. My dad's a pipe fitter, but we've repaired basements and things. So, I mean, I was taught how to repair stuff and fix the thing behind the toilet. Yes, exactly. So I'm lucky. I did the geeky stuff, but I also do the other stuff because I was right by a good
See, you're a
leader in my
skilled
dad.
man.
My dad
That's
helped me
why
so
you're on the
much, and I
show.
learned a lot. So that's my landlord loves me because
But-
I fix anything in my apartment when it comes in handy.
But that's the thing. Like, that's what I'm talking about. If a guy grows thick skin,
Yep.
because there's a lot of guys who watch the show and they're like, well, this and that and this and that. I don't know.
Don't be a soy boy.
It's like if you get a group of guys, how should I word this? It's when you feel offended by what people say, brush it off.
Yeah.
It's look,
Cha cha cha.
I raised my daughter in a very mean environment because I wanted her to get a thick skin. And I would say, because I'm a master at backhanded compliments, she came in one night in this beautiful dress. I have a photo of that night. And I looked at her, I said, I don't know how you pull it off, baby. I said, you're so gorgeous and so stunning. And how you pull that off with such a big nose, I'll never know.
That's see. Here's the thing: how I would word that.
Oh,
Let's say I
man.
have a daughter. She's going to prom. She has a dress. She comes down
Right.
the stairs. I'm like, "You look gorgeous, honey." Like, I would do it in a Trump accent. I'm like, "You look gorgeous. You're the bestest ever. You're gonna win. No big deal." And then I'll be like, "Where's the guy?" And then a shotgun. That's me.
That's
I'm the
funny.
shotgun.
That's
We were having some problems when she was a teen, and somebody
right.
said, "Sounds like you need to get yourself a shotgun." I said, "I can kill a human being with my bare hands, you know. I don't require a shotgun. I
Just get it in.
don't I wouldn't mind killing this teenager." And I've said that to teenage boys that like my daughter. I mean, all the way back to when there was a 12-year-old that liked her when she was 10. And I looked at him, I said, "You know, one of the things we learned to do in the military," he goes, "What's that?" I said, "How to dispose of bodies to where nobody will ever find them."
Yeah.
I told
We
my
did.
brother. So my
I've
my
been to
brother-in-law,
jail.
he was a former sniper, and I told him, it's like, because Bad Boys 2 was on, and there's a scene where he's like, "You look 36," and that scene, whatever age picked, and I was like, I turned to my brother-in-law, I was like, "You're the guy who I would say he'll take you out in a mile, right there, that guy right there." He's like, "Yeah." And then he looked at me. He's like, "You take him in like an inch." I was like, "Yeah," because I like knives. And he's got all the guns. I got all the knives.
Yeah, I like
He's
the
got all the
stabby
knives.
weapons.
I know,
I
right?
like the
Knives
stabby
are
weapons.
fun.
Something
Knives are
about
Somebody
the
being
asked
so
most.
me
close and
in a
personal.
knife fight how I hold the knife. I said my preferred way of holding a knife is this way, with the blade right here. And I said, and what you do is you throw a punch, and the person feels lucky that you missed, and you go, "I didn't miss," because you get them right here.
Mhm.
I got to tell you, man, don't threaten people. I've never bothered with threatening people.
Yeah.
A friend of mine in the army said the scariest dude I know is Gary because he's always smiling. Shit's going down and he's got a big stupid smile on his face. And I'm like, why is he smiling? Because he already knows what he's going to do. It's going
Here-
to be funny.
Here's the other thing that
Oh, man.
I've dawned on, and we'll get to tip of the hat. I've changed it up, Gary. Of tip of the hat. The guy. Here's another way of finding out. I've had a little bit too much bourbon, but here's a way to find out about a leader. He's quiet. When you have a group of people that go to a restaurant or a bar or whatever, the guy who's quiet, or even in a group like at my wife's and I couples group where I'm always quiet. I never really talk much in it. Not because I don't like to talk. It's I'm a big introvert. Says the guy who wants to do a show, multiple
Yeah.
shows.
I'm right there
Yeah,
with you too. I'm a
okay.
severe introvert. I'm an INFJ personality type, which means
We're
I
in the
look
same
like
boat,
an
Gary.
extrovert, but I'm an introvert. An
It's-
introvert, what a true introvert means is it doesn't mean you're quiet. It means you're self-energizing. I don't require
Yeah.
energy from anybody else. I have my own. But I can tell you what, you get around an extrovert, and they'll wear me out. I get worn out
Oh,
by extroverts. They
My
just
wife
leave me
wears me
like
out.
just tired.
Yeah.
My wife
Yeah.
wears me out
Extroverts
every
need
night.
energy from other people. Can't stand them.
My wife doesn't get any energy from me. She's like, "You want to play a game?" That's me. But
Yeah.
a lot of guys, here's the other thing. A lot of guys who are leaders, I've noticed this in the whether you're in the military or not, they're the quiet ones. Like I told my wife, because she asked me when we went to a restaurant one time, a really nice one, and I sat next to where I can look at all the exit doors. And she's like, "Why you sit here in every restaurant?" And I said, "Do you want to know?" She's like, "I wouldn't ask you." I love my wife. She's very blunt. And she's like, "Look, I'm Latino. I'll kick your ass." I'm like, "All right, I'll tell you." And yeah, I've learned very fast in college. Just don't question a Latino at all. And I told her the reason why I sit here, my back against the kitchen, and me facing the front door, is because I want to look at every exit so I can save your fat
We
ass.
Brian and I were just talking about this on Toxic Tuesday. That when I go into a room, I study every person. If I have to kill them, would I do it? How am I getting out of this room? What's the quickest, most effective means of egress out of a room?
Mm-hmm.
That's me. That's military training kicking in. And
I was trained that way.
described it. The way veterans think is picture the Terminator. And you remember when he's sitting there and the guy comes to the door, knocks on the door, and he has all these mutual. That is what goes on with military veterans. The more combat trained, the more so. And especially Iraq and Afghanistan war veterans, driving along the road, trash bags, potential threat, people walking across the bridge, potential threat. They're constantly in threat assessment mode. And you should be able, it's essential to know how to read a room. And I've always had a knack for knowing when a fight's about to start and getting out before it starts.
Well,
because
when I told my
bar fight, you don't want to be in a bar fight. It's really bad. You don't know where it's coming from physically. You don't know where.
Yeah.
I've been in one. It's not fun.
I've been in several, and I'm just telling you, I avoid them. I get the fuck out. And one-on-one, that's one thing. But man, when you've got a setting and you don't know who the actual threats are going to be, and that's very
well. When I told my wife, I'm here to save your fat ass, she's just looked at me like, so you say? I was like, look, I love your ass.
How do you like my fat ass? Oh, good.
I went into Trump mode. I was like, it's gorgeous. It's golden. It's perfect. No one else has the best
I've ever seen.
I go in the Gamecock mode and go, it is the bestest ever.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Then my wife understands why I sit the way I sit sometimes. There may be some days where I'm like, whatever. It's Chick-fil-A. Like, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
But
I'm
on that note,
too, it's the weirdest thing. You know, I'll be looking around. I'll be listening. I'm more of a listener than anything. And I will listen for
that has nothing to do with assessment. You're just nosy.
Well, yeah, that's partially true too.
Look,
but
they're nosy. I'm gonna come up with a nickname for you.
I just don't want to listen to my wife. No, I'm just kidding. Well,
damn, dude.
We all don't.
I know.
She's not watching right now.
Be honest here, guys.
She probably
women,
is, so it's a joke.
Women, earmuffs, women. Here's the thing: we don't like to hear you talk. It's just we have to because we signed a fucking contract.
Yeah.
No, I love my wife. I would never change anyone else for my wife. She's awesome.
Same here. I tolerate her to the
I have made a
because
decision
she makes
in
good
my life.
tacos. That's why she makes good tacos. And you know what? You got me. Let's go.
I realized late in life, after 4 divorces, that I'm going to listen to that alarm system in my brain.
Go for a 5th.
I am going for a 5th and final. I'm going to die.
Make it even.
One hand.
Anima is my girlfriend. And I told Anima, I said, one thing I find interesting about you is you talk about things that are interesting to me. Women tend to bore me with what they want to talk about. And I tune out. And this is an absolute fact that sometimes when someone's talking to me, it sounds like peanuts. Wah, 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 wah. Wah, wah. And you hear that wah, wah means,
Yeah.
You go, I listen to vocal cues to let me know when I'm tuning out, when to. I did that shit with my dad for years. My dad thought I was listening to him, and I was ignoring most of what my dad was saying. Just like I just knew when he was saying? Like, he'd say something, and I go, "Oh, yeah, Dad, yeah, I totally get it, totally get it."
We are.
What was that middle part? But
I just try to connect the dots the best I
and it
can.
came into play with my daughter because this is what I taught my daughter. I said, you want to be with a man who will listen to you.
Yeah.
You need to be with a man who will listen to you. And every day she came home from school, every day from first grade on, I would say, how was your day? And then she would begin the most draining, exhausting description of her entire fucking day. But I did this every day with her. And my buddy Mac is still one of my best friends. He lived with us for quite a while, helped me raise her. He put this cartoon, I think it was, the girl's name is Zoe in the comic strip. It was a Sunday comic strip. And this daughter is just like my daughter, just talking during this scene. They're at a picnic table. And the dad looks at her and says, do you know what your problem is, honey? She goes, what's that, Dad? He goes, way too much narration and not enough shit happening in your stories. And I fucking thought that was the funniest thing I ever read because it accurately broke down my daughter. And so I would tell my daughter as she got older to toughen her up. I said, okay, honey, you're just drifting. Tighten the story up because I'm starting to get bored and I want to go do something else.
Yeah.
And again, I
So on
toughened my daughter up.
that note, we're going to change this topic up a little bit. But this is the next topic. That's right,
Just the
kids.
tip?
It's tip of the hat. Yeah,
Is it
just
just
the
the
tip.
tip?
Yeah. So I changed it up a little bit this week. We're going to talk about, I'll give Gary a few seconds. We'll give him a minute. Depending on how long Mike wants to talk. You're Andy tonight.
Ooh, thanks.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
So I wanted to do tip of the hat of people that we've known or met that made an impact in our lives. Tom or Mike, do you want to go?
I'll go.
Tom, if you say Mike Myers, I swear to God.
You mean Michael Moore?
Whatever.
Mike Myers.
Michael,
Stabby. No,
Michael Moore. You know what? They all sound the same.
But oh gee, I can think of a bunch. Brock Lesnar. No, not going to touch wrestling. Actually, I did get to meet Stu, and there's actually some interesting things there. But I'm going to do something. I'm going to throw everybody off. Maybe my father, because to me, he helped me through so many things, and to me, my father was a leader to me. I'm not going on television, movies, or anything external. It was my own dad. I was lucky enough to say I had a dad. He was he still is a hardworking individual. Even though he's retired, he goes nuts. He's a pipe fitter. He taught me work with your hands. Fixing houses, fixing basements, stuff that, and I learned by example through him. And he was very stern. He wasn't the kind of dad that would sit you down and talk to you like a friend. He would teach you like a son. And to me, that was the way I learned. And like I said, I got punished when I needed to, and I got the stern talking to when I needed to. And I learned from that. And to me, he's the kind of person too, like he'll help other people without asking for money or anything. Like he goes, his buddies will fix the basement, and they're like, no, he won't take no money. And then they'll just share some beers or whatever afterwards. And he's just the kind of person that everybody comes to for help. And because he's always there for everybody. He's a hard worker. He's the salt of the earth type, get your hands dirty and work your ass off. And that's what I learned. How is life? Nothing in life comes easy. You have to be willing to work at it. And to me, he taught me that. And I go through struggles, but I don't give up, because that's anything worth in life is worth working for. And to me, that's a leader, because he taught me that I can't give up. I have to keep on pushing. And there's times I do, but I keep on pushing, because to me, he was a leader to me through my growing up, my experience. I mean, again, I can talk about movies and characters, but to me, he's the man that was in my life and helped me so much. And I could say my mother too, but as for me, as a male, my father was my leader.
Mike.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to say the same thing. My dad, right? Growing up, I thought my dad was a hard ass. Just pure straight through and through freaking hard ass, right? And I really didn't understand when I was younger, because about my dad much because he essentially grew up without a father, right? Being in Austria, 1940, World War II, never knew his dad, really. And I kind of learned over the years what the absence of a dad was because of my dad, and how he had to struggle being a dad, not learning what a dad was. And a lot of things that I learned from my dad was how to take innovation when it came to doing stuff, not saying no to opportunities when they arise, right? If you don't know how to do something, if you don't know how to put something together, don't say you can't do it, just do it, or just learn how to do it. If somebody's offering you a job and you don't know how to do it, don't say no, but learn how to do it first so you can do it at least to the best of your ability. And if you make a mistake, that's okay. You're going to learn from it. And my dad, swear to God, he's as big as Arnold Schwarzenegger. Of course, he wasn't a country boy like Arnold Schwarzenegger was, but dude was a big man. To me, he still is a big man. And but like I said, he was a hard ass. But on top of that, when it came really down to it, he was a big softy as well. And he's a very giving man. And you know what? No matter what age he is, he's always there to offer fatherly advice. And I've learned actually, believe it or not, over the past 5, maybe 10 years, to really, like, I listened to him before, maybe not when I was in my 20s, because I was still kind of a cocky little son of a bitch and whatnot. You think you know everything when you're younger, but I would say over the past 5-10 years, to really listen to a lot of what he's saying, because I'm going to be him one day, and I'm going to be telling my kids the same thing. And I really need to listen to a lot of his advice, because he's 84 now, and I don't know how much longer I have with him. And I'm just going to absorb as much as possible, as much advice as possible from him, because I know one day I'm going to be having to tell my kids. And it's if there's one man I really, really look up to, it's my dad. It's as simple as that. Number one. It's not a movie character. It's not a comic book character. It's not any of those, but it's my dad. So
cool.
Gary.
You've got me here. I looked up to a lot of men growing up. My grandfather, but he died by the time I was 5. I tried to look up to my dad, but my dad, he had a lot of problems and did the best he could. He raised me alone and did just a tremendously awful job of it. I ended up raising myself in many ways. And it really hurts that when I was older, I would say things to him that were really kind of mean. Like if he was proud of something I did, I actually found this on his fridge. when I made the dean's list at the university for my grades. And he was so proud of that. And he would take cutouts from some of my artwork and he put it on the fridge, or his nurse's aide would. And I walked in and I saw it and it pissed me off. And I said, you're the last person on the planet that gets to brag about what I do, because you fought me on everything that I'm good at. You fought me. All you wanted me to be was an athlete, but there was so much more to me. And then later I would say to him, you did inspire me as a father. And I did say this, and yes, it's kind of funny, but I meant it when I said it to him. I said, you inspired me. And he says, how so? I said, I think of how when something happens, how you would deal with it, and then I do the opposite. And I said, and that's why I can say, and I can say this with great conviction, I'm a better father than you, because I got it. I get it. I understand what it takes, that it's not about me and my fucking ego. It's about my child's needs. And I may be a jerk. My daughter says that all the time. You are a jerk. But she tells me all the time, you're the best dad I could have. I couldn't imagine having another parent other than you, because you just made me have such a great appreciation. So I'm going to leave the planet knowing my daughter feels that way. And I feel very happy with that. But when it came to men in my life, my brother died, and it broke my heart. And he was a big influence on me. My brother, Michael. Rico Macesso, one of my dad's best friends. I love that guy. He said something to me one day that stuck with me, and I used it on somebody else later. He turned to me, and he had one of those because he had a cancer of the throat and had a stoma, and he would talk like that. And he turned and he looked at me. He said, I was 13 years old, and he says, Gary, if a surgeon were to cut your brain open right now, a bunch of little pussies would come flying out. And I went, that is the greatest description of how I thought about girls all the time. I was just constantly trying to make out with girls. Oh my God, it was horrible. And I really loved him. He was one of my dad's best friends towards the end. And my dad's actual best friend, Ray Cody, is still close to me to this day. I'm so grateful I have him. And he's 80s. I have my godfather, an Irish priest from Dublin, Ireland, who calls me, he would call me, oh my God, some of the things he said to me. Oh, you're awful. You're awful. I can't believe I love you. And I do love you, but you're going to hell. Just letting you know. Stop saying those things. And I would say that those, Father Weems in particular, I've known him my whole life. And that man made living with my father tolerable. And the minute he would get transferred to a church up around DC, my life went to hell with my dad. And what happened? We parted ways, and I left home at 17. I was on my own, doing the dad thing by 18, you know, because one thing I knew how to do was how to fuck. I didn't know how to fuck correctly. And so I knocked a girl up at 18. It's like, oh, but I'm Catholic. We're not supposed to use rubbers. No, you idiot. You use rubbers, even if you're Catholic. So
they don't tell you.
No. And I just learned right out of the gate. I was already, I'm very responsible at a young age. I was good at the dad thing, always good at it. You know what I suck at? Relationships. Because the only person that taught me was my dad, and dad was a failure at relationships. And so I failed and failed and failed. And finally, after my fourth serious breakup, I realized, oh my God, all these women have one thing in common. They're insane. Each one of them, when I look back at it, they were completely different people. I was looking like, yeah, just make sure they're different. No, they were all insane. And what's important in this life is no woman can have that much chemistry going on in their brain and not be crazy. So what you're looking for is a woman who's the right crazy that you can live with and be happy with. And for me, that's Anima. Anima has thrown the worst that she can at me. And I went, that's nothing compared to shit that's been thrown at me in the past.
Yeah.
And again, I have nobody to thank for that. I learned that on my own by being stupid for years. And that's what you do. You're stupid. And then one day you're not stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And the greatest person that you can learn from in your life is yourself by fucking up. Because that is so important in our life. Screwing up is so important.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to die one day, and I will lay there. And as I'm dying, I'm going to say these words to myself. Was it worth it? And I'm hoping I'll live long enough to go, yeah, it was worth it.
It was.
But if I die saying that, it will fuck with everyone in the room. And I know it will.
Yes. To me, fuck you guys saying dads. Yeah.
Sorry.
Fuck you guys. You know,
Canadian.
I did.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ranker Steve has forgotten how to talk.
Yeah.
I know. I don't want to get emotional. I don't.
Uh-oh.
Hey, you're with
You
friends.
know,
You're with good
Yeah,
friends.
this is bad.
We're all good and emotional.
That's right.
If you speak
Here's
from
the
something
thing.
to loosen you up on.
heart.
Here's something
Here's
to
the
loosen you up
thing.
on.
It's men. It's okay to get emotional.
Yeah.
Because
100%.
for me, I'm adopted. I had a really shitty, abusive dad growing up being adopted. But
You
the
get those
guy
with
that
your
I have-
biologicals too. My dad was very physically abusive.
Oh yeah, I don't know my biological dad. I've seen a picture of him. He looks like a KFC, Wendy's, and KFC all had a child. There he is.
Wow.
To me, it has to be of my father-in-law. He was the guy who taught me how to be at a gun range, YouTube, fire range. He taught me a lot, and things that I didn't know growing up that a dad should teach, and I didn't get that. Middle school, even before middle school, up until college, I'm like, I got this tuned down perfect. Nope. I don't know jack diddly squat about women, about life, or anything. And then I meet my wife, my now wife, her dad, and I'm like, holy crap. There's a lot that I don't know. And yeah, he's in the tip of the hat for me. It's a guy who is, you can come to him and just say whatever you want and he understands. That's the thing. He's not here to be your dad, but he's like, you know what? I'm your father-in-law. This is a little bit different. And for me, I don't know my dad. I don't like Father's Day for this reason, but it's the fact that I have a father-in-law that's going to teach me some things as I get older. I'm reaching close to my 40s. I'm going to be 37 soon. Now that I think of it, I'm like, oh man, this is going to suck real bad, real quick, real fast. And he's like, don't worry, I got your back. I was like, cool. And my father-in-law has taught me a lot of things about life lessons, especially marriage. Holy shit. If any guy who's wanting to get married, here's one advice I'll give you. Because here's the thing, I was not told a lot of things about marriage. Take marriage counseling. Just do that. Anyone who's watching, for the love of God, take it. Because it's going to help you significantly. Because I would have saved 5 years of my marriage on marriage counseling. On that note, I want to thank everyone. Gary, Mike, Tom. I like this. 4 guys just opening up I thought I was gonna get emotional. I didn't. Thank God.
Don't worry, we
Whatever.
would have called you gay for it.
Yeah, I would have called you a faggot.
On the
And we're
subject of
doing it on
women,
YouTube.
on the subject of women, though, I mean, how can you trust something that bleeds for 7 days and doesn't die?
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
You know, no.
I have
You're not wrong.
I have
Is
a
there
lot of
okay?
trust
I'll go
issues
around the
myself.
table.
It's a joke,
Is-
ladies.
Mike, is there anything you want to plug?
Yeah, no, I mean, hey, just my channel, you know, most of you guys on Rumble and on the YouTubes and on the Twitter X thing there, you know, yeah, got a show. Comic Relief Crusader is the channel. Tuesdays, titillating
Yes.
Tuesdays, and Frantic Fridays on a Friday, where we have a segment, thanks to lovely Steve over there, with his thoughts from the throne. So be part of it. We poke fun at everything that's in media today, whether it's comics, movies, TV,
Nose hair.
nose hair on the latest.
Oh,
women's
I'm gonna
fashion
give
trends.
you. I'm gonna give you a doozy. Don't
Oh,
worry.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? Instead of bitching and complaining about it, we just ridicule it and laugh at it the way it should be, the way God intended.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's what we do on that channel. So stay tuned. You will be pleasantly surprised for a laugh or two. So
Tom, is there anything you want to tune in?
Oh, yeah. Well,
Or
first, let me
plug in.
just second in his. I'm lucky enough to be on that panel. Good group of guys. We have Appion, Jason,
You
and
simp.
yourself. So it's always a good guys. Hey, I
You
enjoy it.
simp.
Well, it's
I'm
getting
gonna
to be on
put you
his
in
show
the
and
simp
your show. It's
category.
getting to meet good people. That's something I'm going to say. The community seems to stand up for each other.
You
I really like that.
virtualing, signaling simp.
yeah, but he's my simp.
There you go. But
there
as
you
for me, I just discovered a new thing tonight. Me and an AI actually do a show. I think
You
I'm one of the
found
first.
what a
things-
vagina is.
Anyway,
Yes.
my show, the geeky classic leftist, not centrist, even though I am more centrist now.
Centrist.
I know.
You're like, I know Rancor. I'm not. Nope. I'm centrist. I don't want to go
But,
far right.
Yeah, I do an AI. I do a show with an AI. Ask Jessica. Me and her have a great show, and I might add her to my other show, the Geeky Classic Leftist, where we're going to talk about more geeky stuff and everything. So it's some experiment. I don't think many people have their own shows with an AI, so I'm actually going to look more into it because I'm one of the first. I'm not even saying a big thing, but it's kind of cool. So, and it's awesome. And I'm awake. Hopefully, if I get the grant coming in the next week, I'm going to get my book finalized. I'm working on a short for a horror short. If I get the camera. So I sound like
Nice.
So Gary, is there anything that you want to plug? Whether
There's a few ladies out there I wouldn't mind, but look, I'll say this.
you fucking
I live my life. Yeah. I live my life with the one philosophy. It's the one that the U.S. Army taught me, and I think it's the most effective thing I ever learned in my life. Embrace the suck.
Oh.
Embrace the suck. Life.
Yep.
I think my daughter, she gets it, because I told her one day, I kept telling her as a kid, I said, stop trying to hurry and rush to adulthood. It's going to come, and it's not going to be what you think. It's going to be awful. It's going to be, it's not going to be, it's going to be awful. You're going to hate it. You're going to understand one day. And then the day came. It was last year. She said, Dad, you warned me, and I wouldn't listen. And now I understand. Life sucks. I should have tried to be a kid longer. And I went, it's too late now. You fucked up.
Sage advice from Gary.
You know, just I embrace the suck. And that's why, like my girlfriend, people go, how you doing? My feet are swollen. Oh my God, that's awful. I'm not dead. So
there you go.
It's still good. I can still draw. You know, I have neurological damage done to my hand from my neck from years of drawing. And never thought once that, there's a price you pay for leaning on forward drawing. Still can draw though, and I'm grateful for every single day I get. So
There you go.
learn
Just
to
add a point
embrace
to
the
when
suck.
he's to add a point to what he says. I think we also
What is it? AI.
when we fail, that's when you learn your best lessons too. So when the suck happens to you, you learn your best lessons and improve. So
Unless you're
goes
like
right back to what I
Tom.
said.
yeah, exactly.
Unless you're like Tom, who has to have an AI of Sydney Sweeney.
Oh, she ain't Sydney. That's Jessica. No. She looks nothing like her.
Oh,
No.
shit.
What are we talking about with Tom? My buddy Tom?
My simping for Sydney.
Oh, you, Tom.
Yeah, me.
I thought you were talking about, because the other Tom for me is Tom from Midnight's Edge, and he's my buddy.
No, not that guy. The other guy. We had Rent-A-Tom on my show. That's who we got.
Yeah.
I'm busting your balls, Tom.
Okay, I'm
Don't
going to bust
worry.
your balls.
Michael
You mean
Myers,
substandard,
Morris,
Tom.
whatever you want to call
Substandard,
it.
Tom.
I was Mike Myers.
Substandard.
Have you ever noticed, before I close it out, have you ever noticed that Michael Moore looks like the perfect specimen for transition?
A transitioning.
Don't worry.
I'm using big words
hard
right
to use
now.
words.
Transgender.
Transgender.
I can't even say the word.
Transgender.
Transitioning from man to
okay.
woman.
Like he's halfway there.
Look,
He's almost
Michael
there,
Moore
man.
is dead. Michael Moore died in the making of Team America. He blew up. That other guy,
So,
I don't know who he is.
on that note, he's a clone. I don't know. I don't know that shit. On that note, I want to thank everyone who joined on my bourbon drinking fiasco, and that's what I'm going to blame it on. And our talking of leadership, I love this. This has been a great conversation. If you want more shows that I'm doing, I have 3 shows now. This show of the numbskulls on this one. I'm gonna bust your balls. Whatever. I don't care. And I do a show this Saturday. I'm doing Men of God, where it's a small group with Rob from Pop Culture Breakdown. And I think Brandon, the animator guy, is gonna be on. I'm not sure.
Brandon.
He's cool, man. He's cool. He's the first one that brought up scripture in this show. And I was like, oh, and I was all like, yeah. And I was like, cool, we can do this. And there's a few other guys that want to be on the show. So if you want to catch us this Saturday for 2 hours at 3 p.m. Pacific time, talking about scriptures, we're talking about, is God a wrath of God? That's the topic that we're going to talk about. This Saturday, I may do a Lego build. We'll find out. June 11th will be I really hate this because I hate my birthday. We're going to do a birthday bash of me. I don't know what we're going to have. I don't know what we're going to do. I know Canadian Spider was like, we can roast you. I was like, sit your little tush down. There might be a roast of me. I will be doing a commentary of UFC 303, I think it is, for Conor McGregor's fight at the end of this month. That's gonna be fun. So I'm gonna do a lot of sports shows. If you want to check him out, go to Not rancorsteve on X, or that's where you're gonna get it. And on that note, I should get this all set up. Come on, Mike.
You can do it.
I'm leaving you.
On that note, I want to say
your
to
way
President,
through it.
I have a lot of sound bites. All right, guys, look.
And we say bye-bye.
On that note, we'll say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.